I guess it's that time again. Welcome back to the show. The first one last week I think went really well in terms of creating and releasing the video. So I thought, let's just keep the momentum going and get into the second episode. In terms of the schedule, I might need to take a quick break. We've got exams next week and week after, but it shouldn't be too long. I'm going to keep doing this just to get it off the ground, and then when it finally gets off, we'll take it from there. But the first thing I wanted to talk about today was, well, if you're a UK resident, you've probably heard this name for years. I'm talking decades. Madeline McCann. If you're outside the UK, bear with me, but this name has been said years, decades, as I said. It's been all over the news, radio, constant alerts on the phone. It's for decades now. But what I have here is just this quick timeline of events that I want to go through, just to sort of give a taste and just to give a brief example of what we're actually doing when it comes to the disappearance of Madeline McCann. Okay. In 2007, her parents went to dinner and left her and her twin siblings in the hotel room by themselves. Even though the hotel was like 100 yards away, they did devise sort of like a rota. You know, the parents would constantly check in between a certain time limit, and when the mom went for her turn to look at the children, the daughter was gone. Madeline had disappeared. And this was in May the 3rd. Like a year yesterday. Oh my god, my math skills is abysmal. Not a year yesterday, but yesterday as of today. So, you know, everyone starts joining in, everyone starts searching. The 26th of the same month, there's a description of a man that they think is related. They say that he's carrying a child. In June, it turns out that the police chief had not suppressed but kept quiet the fact that the scene wasn't secured properly. So evidence was basically void, nulled. That the clues left at the crime scene was basically destroyed. So that probably set back the investigation and could possibly be the reason why no one's seen this child in so long. Let's see. In August, they decided that they might not be looking for a child in terms of her being alive. Just because it's been 100 days, the name's been on the news, no one in their right mind would decide, yeah, let me keep this child, because it's just going to bring them heat from all sides. But here is where a twist comes into play. In September of the same year, the detectives on the case make the couple arguidos. I did Spanish, but I flopped. So, arguidos, that basically means they're a person of interest. They're a person of interest in the case. So the Spanish detectives think, yeah, you have something to do with it. And I remember at the time, this is 2007, so I'm just a child, but I remember everyone thinking, oh yeah, you did something. You did something to your child. That was like the big rumor, the big hush hush that everyone knew but no one was saying. 2008, There's sketches released on the person. They call him a creepy man. A creepy man was seen at the resort. But the Portuguese police said, I don't know why I said Spanish. Portuguese police said that they're done. They basically submitted their final report. And they lift their status off from the parents. So at this point, in 2008, January, the police had just dropped the case. They don't know what to do anymore. Fast forward by 2 years, in March 2010, the McCanns are criticizing the police of Portugal. As it turns out, they've had files where Madeline was sighted. So there were possible sightings of the missing child throughout the investigation, but they didn't make it public. They didn't even tell the UK police. But at the same time, the parents of Madeline McCann was signing a deal to write a book about the disappearance. I just want to, sort of highlight, make that in bold. But we'll come back to it. We won't talk about it just yet. We'll come back to that. The book's released like a year later. Now, 2013, Scotland Yard, the boys in blue, say they have 41 potential suspects. 41. There's even an image of what looks to be a man carrying a blonde-haired child. Around the same time Madeline went missing. So now that the UK is getting involved, something is being done. The next year, the detectives go to Portugal and say, we're gonna arrest some people. It's a long time coming, but we need to arrest some people. This is going too far now. And in June, they search the hotel again, and they find nothing. In July, they arrest 4 people, but they're not involved. They yield nothing from this arrest. But they did release some information in 2015 about the investigation costing more than 10 million pounds went into this investigation. That is a lot of money. Fast forward now 4 years to 2019, they said they're going to fund it even more. The government will fund the inquiry even more. But they did put a deadline. They're going to do it till March 2020. And I'm guessing if nothing yields from that, they'll call it quits. June 2020 now, there's a German prisoner just named Christian B that they feel is a suspect. But as recently as yesterday, this prisoner has claimed to have an alibi. He claims to have been, doing the deed with a female and then dropping her off at the airport at the time. And that was just like a quick, glimpse into the investigation for finding Madeline McCann. Now, I remember growing up, and every so often you hear this little updates like they start the investigation, the parents are suspects, they're no longer suspects, they have possible leads, they don't have possible leads. This was going on for decades. And one thing that I always was curious about was the mental state of the parents. Like, how do you keep going for this long? It's been, 15 years now? How do you keep going on in search of your daughter? How do you do it? But the question that I wanted to ask is, after 15 years, after £10 million, after funding from the government, should they just close the investigation? I'm not an evil person. I want to see this child found, but at the same time, it's been 15 years now. 15 years. There are other cases that could be looked on, other revenues that this money could be put into. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should relocate those funds to avenues that could be more fruitful, be more successful. Don't get me wrong, as someone who doesn't have any kids, I can't imagine what they're feeling. I can't. I'm not in their shoes. I don't know what they could be feeling. To have your child taken from you for the last 15 years and not knowing if she's dead, if she's alive, or who has her, not knowing what happened, it must be killing them inside. And suspicions on them definitely won't help. Definitely. I mean, they did some curious things like release a book. But I think that was for, monetary reasons to help fund the investigation. At least I hope so. But yeah, I remember my sister telling me about how the father works at Leicester Uni and she sees him a couple times. And all she could hear was, oh, it was him. He did it. Like, I think there was a thing about they wanted to put her to sleep, so they gave her cough medicine. But they gave her too much. That's what everyone was thinking. That was the main suspicion at the time. They gave her too much cough medicine. And so, the child may have passed and then they covered it up. But I feel like if that was the case, they would have given up. They wouldn't have wasted 15 years. If that makes sense. Like, yeah, they'll probably go along with it for the first couple, years just to maintain their cover. But if you know you killed your child, you're not gonna do that for 15 years. If anything, you do it for maybe 5, if that, and then just be like, yeah, she's gone. We're not doing this anymore. So I do think they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not responsible. And I do think they had nothing to do. I'm not sure as to, in the beginning of 2007, why they felt they were able to leave their child by themselves in a hotel. I know it was close, but it's still, another country. You don't know what the area was like. So you're taking a big risk in, letting your child stay there by themselves. I mean, they were with their twin siblings, but again, they're children. Anything can happen. She's a blue-eyed blonde girl. She's gonna be sought after. But yeah, that's the question I just wanted to throw out, because it's been back in the news. We've seen it for decades now, at least 15 years, and I'm just thinking, I wonder what everyone else thinks about this situation. I wonder what everyone else wants from the situation, because it's not just the parents now. Because we've been seeing this for so long, I wonder if people are done with it, people want justice, or if people are just curious and want an ending to all this. Hopefully it's a happy one. Maybe they find a child, maybe someone, gives up and says, hey, this is where Madeline has been. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't think that's gonna be coming anytime soon. I mean, the guy they just had in custody has an alibi, apparently. So unless that alibi is false, then it's back to the drawing board for I don't know how long now, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, how long would it have to go in order for them to realize maybe this child isn't coming back? And it's a sad thing to think about, but at the end of the day, there's other cases that could be worked on right now. Other cases from maybe 15 years ago that didn't get that much attention as it could today, as it could be funded today. But you know, it's just something that I was thinking about recently, so I thought, why not? But yeah. Okay, so I recorded this yesterday, which is the 4th of May. And as of the 5th of May, they have found evidence, personal belongings of McCann in Christian B's camper van. This looks like it could be the guy. The German prosecutors are sure it's him. His alibi must be fake. And if this is the case, we may finally get an answer to it. Before I even knew about this, I had this whole thing about if it should end, if they should just give up. But if they finally have the guy, then I'm going to have to change my whole opinion, because they may finally actually get justice for this young girl. And that is something that I think everyone wants. So I thought I need to do a little edit and record this little section just so all the bases are covered. I would have never thought that new evidence would come to light so quickly. So just a little update, and yeah, thanks for watching.